Welcome to Cosmic Hypothesis, the channel that brings you sci-fi stories packed with action, drama, and deep emotion. If you love thrilling space adventures, heart-pounding battles between distant civilizations, and tales of unity that transcend all limits, then you've come to the right place. In today's series, we'll embark on a challenging cosmic journey where hope and strength are put to the ultimate test. Join me as we explore this epic saga, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the most exciting upcoming episodes. Thank you so much for staying with the story until the very end. If you found it captivating and want to join me for the next episodes, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a part. I'd love to hear your thoughts, please. Leave a comment below to share your impressions and feelings about the story. See you in the next episode. The vast, silent expanse of space stretched endlessly around the small scout ship named Watcher. Once gleaming with the signature silver sheen of the Serani civilization, its hull now bore the scars of countless near escapes and tense maneuvers executed down to the last second. Every dent, every crack in the titanium shell told a life or death story of the journey the ship had endured. Inside the cramped cockpit, Captain Eric hunched over the control panel, the dim green light casting shadows over his weathered, weary face. His eyes, once a pale ocean blue, now carried the weight of exhaustion and a deep, unspoken worry. Flickering numbers on the display reflected the fragile survival of the ship in a region of space where darkness and danger lurked at every turn. Beside him, Officer Kiera stood upright, her gaze fixed on the steadily dropping readings. Her short hair framed a sharp-featured face, and though her eyes were usually steely and cold, now they trembled as she spoke. "Captain, are you sure we should keep sending the signal? We might just be broadcasting a hopeless plead if we get detected. It could be the end for us." Eric didn't take his eyes off the data. His voice was low, calm, but resolute. "We have no other choice, Kiera. Every minute that passes, we lose more brothers and sisters, more comrades. Zyphor is crushing every planet, every civilization in its path. Serani can no longer withstand this onslaught." Kiera nodded, a flicker of fragile hope lighting her eyes. "Then we send the final distress call, hoping someone out there can still hear us." Eric pressed the send button. A subtle but powerful energy pulse radiated from the antenna atop the ship, carrying the full encrypted message containing their coordinates, war status, weapons, and shield data of Serani. It was more than a technical signal. It was a sigh, a plea from a civilization running out of hope. "This is Watcher sending a distress call to any civilization that can hear. We are Serani, a people on the brink of extinction. The Zyphor Collectiva biomechanical entity is destroying everything. We need help. Please respond." In the cold vacuum of space, the message seemed to echo into silence, yet Eric and Kiera knew that despite the despair, they had to wait. Inside the cockpit, the air was heavy, a mixture of hope and desperation. Every passing moment, the distress call reverberated in their minds, in their hearts a reminder that even the smallest light can break through the darkest night. Eric lifted his gaze to the cockpit window. In the distance, a faint band of stars shimmered within the desolate galaxy. He wondered if somewhere out there, among those countless stars, someone was receiving their call. Was there a hand reaching out, ready to pull them back from the abyss? Only time would tell, and the fate of Serani along with all those who stood with them hung precariously on the fragile thread of waiting. The distress signal from Serani was not the only surprise of the day, but it certainly was what forced the Earth Contact Council to sit together for hours debating, arguing, and sometimes clashing fiercely. In the large conference room, cold white lights illuminated faces seasoned by countless cosmic crises, now facing an unsettling question: should Earth intervene in a war that is not theirs? Admiral Morgan, head of the council, sat upright at the long meeting table, his eyes behind a veil of fatigue yet still sharp and decisive. "We cannot let fear hinder our responsibility," he said, his deep voice resonating through the room. "Serani is dying. If we do nothing, Zyphor will keep expanding, and one day it will come for us." But sitting nearby, financial advisor Monroe folded his arms, narrowing his eyes seriously. "Admiral, this is not just an ethical issue. Intervening in an off-solar system war will incur enormous costs, both material and human. Are we certain this is the wise decision?" A woman in a formal suit, Dr. Lila Reyes, an expert in space law, spoke up. "We must remember that, according to interstellar law, entering the sphere of influence of another civilization without consent can lead to serious legal and political consequences. Are we violating the rules we established to maintain cosmic stability?" The debate continued, covering strategic, economic, ethical, and legal perspectives. At times, angry voices and sharp arguments filled the air, making the atmosphere tense to the breaking point. The conservative faction warned constantly about potential risks, fearing that intervention would turn Earth into the next target. Meanwhile, the supporters stressed moral responsibility, the need to protect life and stop the spreading evil. Suddenly, Senator Elena Harda, respected voice in diplomacy and human rights, stood up, her tone calm but firm. "If we don't act today, then who will stand when we are in danger tomorrow? We built this fleet not only to defend Earth but also to protect vulnerable civilizations. Think of the children on Serani, those praying for a miracle. We can be that miracle." Her words fell heavy over the room. Some began to reconsider their stance, feeling the immense responsibility weighing on their shoulders. After hours of intense debate, Admiral Morgan finally tapped the table lightly. "We will respond to the call, but this is not an easy decision, and there will be no room for error." A plan was outlined: a lean, elite fleet strong enough to protect, but small enough not to destabilize political balance, would be sent to the Serani system. They would carry both strength and hope, representing humanity in this dangerous mission. As the session ended, each member left with a heavy heart, but also a burning determination. The heated arguments had ignited a spirit of responsibility that sometimes, in the vast cosmos, life and hope are preserved by the courage and choices of small, determined humans. The atmosphere at the Interplanetary Space Station buzzed with unprecedented energy as the Earth Contact Council's decision was officially enacted. An elite fleet, compact in power and fueled by determination, was summoned immediately. The mission to save Serani was becoming reality. Commander Raiden entered the briefing room. His sturdy frame steady, but his eyes betraying a flicker of anxiety he struggled to hide. Having led missions on distant front lines for years and witnessed countless bloody battles, this task weighed heavier on his shoulders than any before. Beside Raiden, Dr. Elena, a scientist and diplomatic specialist, studied the 3D map of the Serani system intently, quietly calculating the factors necessary for cooperation between the two civilizations. In the short meeting before departure, Raiden's soldierly resolve was clear. "We cannot underestimate the Zyphor enemy. They are tireless, machines cold, and ruthless. But fear must not hold us back. We must keep our unity strong, our skills sharp, and our hearts focused on the ultimate goal, saving those lives in danger." Elena nodded, her voice gentle yet unwavering. "And remember, victory won't come from weapons alone. We need to build trust, understanding, and consensus with Serani. This is not just a war of arms, but a war of language, culture, and spirit." Not everyone in the team fully agreed with this approach. Whispers of doubt circulated, concerns about placing too much faith in a civilization they had only just met. The tension between military and scientific perspectives became a delicate balance that Raiden and Elena had to manage every day. Even as the final preparations wrapped up, warships equipped with specialized frequency jamming systems, crews drilled to near perfection in coordinated maneuvers, an uneasy feeling lingered. What awaited them out there might not be simply a traditional enemy. As the launch day neared, Raiden's eyes tracked every fragment of data from the small scout stations and snippets of skirmishes with Zyphor forces. They had discovered a weakness. Zyphor's coordination relied on a fragile collective neural network. But would that flaw be enough to defeat a multi-layered machine species? The fleet's first skirmish on the edge of the Serani system was not a grand display of firepower, but a test of experience and endurance from every person aboard. Zyphor's small warships remained dangerous, executing unpredictable maneuvers and wielding advanced technology. Yet for the first time, human plasma blasts pierced their biomechanical shields, boosting morale throughout the fleet. Raiden stood by the bridge window, eyes fixed on the Serani system. He knew this was just the beginning, a prelude to an inevitable war, but he also believed that if they maintained their spirit and combined strength with wisdom, hope was far from lost. Elena stepped beside him softly, saying, "We are not alone. We have a chance, and I believe that together with Serani, we can achieve what no one has dared before." A long, perilous journey lay ahead, but it was also an opportunity to prove the true power of unity of force that transcends race, technology, and fear. As the ship Resolute slowly descended onto the homeworld surface of Serani, the atmosphere inside the cabin was far from the ease of previous landings. This was not merely a routine contact, it was a turning point, a moment where the destinies of two civilizations intertwined, filled with both opportunity and unpredictable risk. The Serani awaiting on the landing platform looked up at the massive ship with a mixture of awe and suspicion. They regarded the strong, sturdy human forms with the caution typical of first encounters. Their pale blue skin reflected the soft orange sunlight, and their large amber eyes held a blend of curiosity and fear. Commander Raiden stepped down the ramp, his posture steady but his eyes revealing cautious vigilance. He was greeted by Serani Captain Arikti, one who had sent the distress signal, and several high-ranking officials from the Serani Council. They exchanged polite handshakes, laden with subtle meaning. The first meeting took place in a spacious yet minimalist room designed to reflect Serani's harmony between technology and nature. Raiden opened the dialogue. "We have come not only to help but to learn and build trust. We are not enemies but allies." Arik responded, his voice gentle yet weighty. "Your distress call was not just a sign of despair, but also an invitation. Yet the truth is, we have never truly known you humans. Can we trust you?" The question was not a challenge, but a quiet warning about old wounds and losses still unhealed. Even in the direst need, suspicion remained a barrier between them. Dr. Elena stepped forward as a bridge between the two civilizations. She spoke about the importance of communication and mutual understanding. "We can learn to speak the language of science and technology, but we must also learn to listen to the language of the heart. Only then can cooperation become reality." But not everyone agreed. A senior Serani official, marked by darker blue patches on his skin, spoke solemnly. "Can humans keep their promises once war breaks out? We cannot rely on hope alone." Tension in the room rose when another figure, likely head of Serani security forces, warned of internal betrayal. "We know there are those among us who do not want cooperation with outsiders. The loyalty of some compatriots is not guaranteed in this deal." Raiden was momentarily taken aback, but quickly regained composure. "We cannot control everything, but together we can build a future where betrayal has no place to win." The discussion stretched for hours, part diplomatic, part psychological warfare. Every word, every gesture carried deep meaning, reflecting anxiety, hope, and hidden fears. When the meeting ended, the atmosphere was far from light. Yet one thing was clear. A bridge between two civilizations had been established, fragile, but full of potential. Exiting the room, Elena sighed and turned to Raiden. "We have only cracked the outer ice layer. Beneath it lies a far more complex current." Raiden nodded, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. "But at least, for the first time, we are walking it together." The atmosphere aboard the Resolute grew heavier than ever as the allied fleet of humans and Serani faced the Zyphor collective, an enemy not only cold but deemed unbeatable by many. Their sleek black ships, asymmetrical and angular, resembled relentless predator machines, advancing with the infinite power of a biomechanical species connected through a collective neural network. Commander Raiden stood on the bridge, his eyes scanning the tactical screens, each number an electronic signal dancing in cold blue light. He knew this battle was not just a fight of weapons, it was a war for survival of will, unity, and faith in the impossible. "Prepare yourselves, everyone." His voice rang out, not just as an order but a call to arms. "We fight not just for ourselves, but for all who await salvation." The battle erupted fiercely, beams of plasma cutting through the dark void, piercing Zyphor's plasma shields like sharp blades slicing steel. But the enemy did not fall easily. The biomechanical ships moved in coordinated rhythm like a colossal organism, striking back with swift, precise attacks that inflicted heavy losses on the Alliance. Raiden watched as destroyers and cruisers were struck, hulls breached, red warning lights flashing incessantly. Crews evacuated swiftly, fighting not only for their lives but for honor and duty. Beside him, Elena and her research team urgently operated equipment designed to disrupt Zyphor's collective neural network. It was a high-stakes Gamblea final effort based on scientific analysis and sharp intuition. If successful, the enemy would lose coordination, become disoriented, and easier to defeat. In moments of intense tension, a flicker of hope emerged as Zyphor's machines began to falter, some ships breaking formation, their weapons missing targets. The human Serani alliance seized the moment, intensifying firepower on the enemy's command vessels. Massive fireballs erupted in the cold expanse. Zyphor's command ships destroyed one by one, throwing their ranks into chaos. But victory was not so easily won. The disorder was temporary. The biomechanical collective began adapting, restructuring its neural network. On the bridge, Raiden's cold gaze betrayed a hidden pain as he witnessed the heavy toll. "We have sacrificed too much," he thought. But without this perseverance, all would be lost. Elena ran to his side, breathless yet eyes burning with faith. "We cannot retreat now. Warriors are falling, but others are rising stronger than ever." The battlefield outside continued to blaze as the Alliance repelled fierce attacks. Serani ships, though smaller, fought alongside humans with newfound strength born from cooperation and indomitable will. As the smoke cleared, Zyphor's forces began to scatter, many ships retreating in chaos. Yet Raiden and Elena knew this was only the first battle of a long war. On the Resolute's bridge, amid the flickering screen lights, Raiden turned to Elena with a grave voice. "We've won a day, but tomorrow they will return with greater power and cruelty. And we must be ready not just with weapons, but with spirit." Elena responded with a weary yet determined smile. "We fight not just for one civilization, but for all life, faith, and hope that never dies." After the fierce battle and heavy losses, the atmosphere aboard the Resolute shifted from the pure tension of war to a hymn of hope and unity. The first days following the temporary victory became a time for healing, reflection, and rebuilding. Commander Raiden stood on the ship's deck, his gaze quietly following the star-filled horizon where the lights of Serani and Earth shone together like a promise for the future. "We have not only defeated the enemy," he thought, "but forged an alliance that no one dared to dream of before." Inside the conference room, the first meeting between Serani and human leaders took place in a solemn yet heartfelt atmosphere. Serani Captain Eric, representing his people, opened the discussion. "We once believed we were alone in the universe. But now, thanks to you, we realize the power of unity is limitless." Elena, acting as the diplomatic bridge, emphasized, "Victory is not the end, but the beginning of a new journey to build a community of civilizations based on respect and cooperation." In the days that followed, experts from both sides began collaborating to develop joint defense technologies and share knowledge of biology, technology, and culture. Cultural exchanges not only blurred differences but created a vibrant tapestry showcasing the richness and potential of their civilizations. Yet the most important change was not technology or strategy, was the transformation in mindset and heart of every human and every Serani. From battlefield soldiers to scientists and leaders, all realized they were no longer alone. In an internal briefing, Commander Raiden shared with his team, "We once fought for survival, but now we fight for the future. A future we build together, not side by side, but within one another." On the deck of the Resolute, beneath the vast starlit sky, laughter, conversation, and whispered dreams of shared hopes rose like a new symphony. From a desperate distress call emerged an Alliance note, just for life, but for faith and love that transcended all distances. As the ship prepared to return to Earth, Raiden looked out the bridge window, pondering the challenges ahead. "We cannot predict what will come," he whispered. "But if we keep this spirit alive, nothing is impossible." Elena stepped beside him, smiling softly. The future always opens to those who dare to step forward. And so, from a call for help in the darkness of space, humanity and Serani sowed the seeds of hope, the seeds of cooperation across space and time, a testament that in the vast universe, the greatest power is always the connection between hearts.